Hello everyone, I'm John Martinez back here with another quick Blender tutorial. So today we're going to be going over how to blur things in the shader editor. Now you know that for all the many nodes that Blender has in its shader editor, one thing it lacks is a blur node. So today we're going to be going over a way that you can actually do that and use it for pretty much anything that you want to. So right now I'm already in the shader tab. We're going to switch it over to render view mode, and I have the camera set up so that we're just looking down overhead view of this default cube right here, and you can use any shape, and this works for anything you want to. But let's go ahead and go over it. So like we're going to do this. Let's say we want to create a line going down the middle right here, just kind of straight down the middle, and we want it to kind of be feathered out on either side like that. So the way that we're going to go ahead and do that is add in a color ramp node, and this will be kind of our gradient that we're going to use for this. We'll switch this from black to just pure red like that. And then we're just going to go ahead and add in a math node right here, and we'll switch this from add to compare. And this will say, take an input value and then compare it to something and then within a certain range. And it outputs a 0 if it is outside of that range and a 1 if it is inside of that range. So what values are we going to be using for our comparisons right here? Well, it's going to be the texture coordinates of the cube itself. So with any node selected, just press Ctrl T if you have Node Wrangler enabled, and it will add in these three nodes right here. We'll delete the image texture because we don't want that. We'll switch it over to the generated coordinates instead of the UV coordinates, and then we'll add in a separate X, Y, Z like that. Connect the vector to the vector input of the separate X, Y, Z, and then take the X output of that node, connect it to the input of the compare, then to our color ramp, and connect that finally to our base color like that. And right now it kind of turns it gray, and that's just because it's outputting a 1 for the entire cube, because remember it is centered right here at 0.5. It goes from 0 to 1, the X coordinates do. And right now it's saying compare it to a 0.5 with an epsilon or kind of, radius of comparison of 0.5. So, minus 0.5 this direction, which gives you 0, and plus 0.5 in this direction. So everything is currently selected right now. If we narrow our epsilon like that, you can see that we now have a bar like this. But of course it's not a soft line, and it's just a hard line like that because it's either within this range or outside the range. So how are we going to actually blur this? Finally, to the point of the tutorial. Well, it's actually quite simple. We will add in a white noise texture, a mix RGB, connect that to there, connect our white noise texture, our color value, to this one right here. And right now it's not really doing anything, and that's because we actually have to connect our mapping node to the white noise texture as well. And then now our factor is set to 0. If we bump this in, it will start to blur it out like that. It kind of softens the edges of our line. Hooray, we have just blurred something. Now, of course, you could also do this particular effect right here with a gradient node as well, or gradient texture. Connect our vector up like that. And then we'll take this color ramp, connect it to that like so. And then if we connect this over here, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going from 0 to 1 this way right there. So if we want to create that same effect like that, we're going to have to kind of create a bunch of different nodes right here. The two inside ones are going to be pure white, and the two outside ones are going to be our red nodes. But for now, let's go ahead and just do that. Let's take that, copy it, paste it over there. And then if we bring it together, we can create a similar effect. Of course, the big drawback to this method is that it's, really hard to adjust the parameters and get it really precise or anything like that. If we want to say widen this out a little bit so that it's maybe from here to here, now we're going to have to drag 1, drag 2 to kind of soften it, drag this one over here, drag that to soften it. It's a big hassle to do something like that. Now, of course, there are advantages and disadvantages to both. This method with the gradient texture, that has the advantage of being, well, 2 nodes right here as opposed to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nodes that we need for our white noise method. But the advantage that this one has is that it's much easier to control the parameters here. You can change the blurring by just changing the factor of our mixing right here, make it more or less blurred at will. And then of course, if you want to move it around, it's also a lot easier as well if you want to make the line bigger. And that's another advantage as well. You can change the size of our line without changing the amount of blurring. The blurring is just a constant determined by this factor right here. So you're not having to worry about, all the dealing with all these different parameters down there. But one thing to keep in mind is that this method with the white noise is slower and it can be a little bit more noisy because it is, just taking a bunch of individual points like that. And that's how it's actually determining, the blurring and everything like that. I won't go into the details with how it works, but if we were to actually render out this image, so let's just set this back to 0.5 and say render out one like that. I set it to 4096 samples, and if we wait for it to render, it'll take a few seconds like that. It takes 7 seconds to render it this way. But if we were to, let's set it up with this one, and we don't need to make it super exactly the same, but I just want to kind of get it a little bit close to the other one so you can kind of see what it looks like. So if we render out this one, remember this is the gradient texture version of it. So if we were to kind of zoom in, and then now if we switch between, obviously they're different sizes, but you can kind of see there's a little bit more noise. I don't know if you'll be able to see this with the YouTube compression and all that stuff. There's a little bit more noise right here. This is slot 1. This is the white noise version right here. And it took 7 seconds to render. But if we switch to slot 2 with the gradient texture, there's a little bit less noise right here, and it only took 6 seconds. So 1 second difference, not really a big deal here, but it's just something to keep in mind that the white noise version is a tiny bit slower and a tiny bit more noisy. But, the gradient texture isn't going to work for all situations. If we wanted to, say, do a different texture here, not just a straight line like this, we wanted to, say, do a brick texture or something. So let's go ahead and clear out this material and create a new material that I will just call brick. And let's add in a brick texture here. So we'll add in brick texture, put that into our base color like that, and Control T to add in our texture coordinates. We'll leave it on generated like that. And we want to blur this out. Now, of course, if we're doing a brick texture, you could just, increase the mortar smoothness right here. See, mortar smooth, you could increase that. And let's bump it up to something really high and then increase the mortar size. You have to kind of play with it, but eventually we don't want that much mortar, something like that, and then increase that. And then you get kind of a blurred effect on there like that, but we don't want to do that. That's too much complication. It has the same problem as doing this method. It requires you touching a lot of controls in order to do that. So we'll just copy this from our line material and paste it in here. Connect our vector, not to the factor, but to the color, and then connect this one to the vector there. Let's take our mortar smoothness all the way down, reset this one to 0.02. That's the default value like that. And then now as we kind of increase, don't forget to connect our vector to that one. Now, as we increase this, it blurs it until, eventually you get to the point where it's just kind of ceases to be anything. It just kind of looks gray. But if you just want a small blur or something like that, it's a really easy way of creating a blur, and it can be used in all sorts of textures, not just brick texture. So let's take a checker texture, which now that I think about it while I'm doing this, it is very similar to a brick texture. So obviously it's going to look very similar as well. We can just blur that out. Now that's all blurred, but let's do something like, what kind of textures do we have here? A Voronoi texture. This one has, let's not use the checker texture. If we were to just plug in our vector in there like that, plug in our color like that, you can see it has a bunch of hard lines and all that stuff. But we can go ahead and swap this out for our mixed texture. And now we just have a blurred Voronoi texture like that. And of course, you can use this for any kind of texture, anywhere where you would use texture coordinates. So let's do this one more time. We will use an image texture this time. So we'll just call this one image. Let's add in an image texture like that. So let's just open up a random image. Let's go to pictures, and I save all of my stuff here. Let's take our, I don't know, our brick building that I made a tutorial for. So if you want to see that tutorial, then I'll put a link somewhere. You can click on it, probably up here. And let's plug that into our color input and see what we've got. Hooray, we've got, you know, our building right there like that. Let's reduce the size so you can kind of see things a little bit more. Never mind. Just do it like that, and 9 divided by 16 to get the aspect ratio correct, and shift it over some amount. Hooray, I don't know, something like that. And we can of course use our mix node right here, plug that into our color input like that, and then vector into white noise like that, plug this into our vector, and hooray, it's now a blurred image texture. So you can use this for any node that you want to. This will blur it. And one thing to kind of keep in mind is if you pay attention, the direction that it is kind of blurring right now, see, as I'm increasing it, it kind of looks like it's blurring it that direction, like that to the left. And that's because it's blurring it from the center of our coordinate system. Right now, we have the coordinate system shifted over 3 meters. So if we were like to say, you know, this is 1, 0, -1, -2, the center of our coordinate system is somewhere in this area, and it's shifting everything relative to that, kind of goes radially from there like that. And that is why everything is shifting over so much. If we were to kind of reset this back down to 0, so now our center of our coordinate system is right here in the middle. This is getting very messy. Then as I increase and decrease the blur, it's a bit more even. It's not so much, you know, smearing it in one direction. So let's, you know, increase it in the positive direction. So now my center is over here. And then as I increase and decrease my factor, it's, you know, pushing everything over that way. So that's something to keep in mind if you are having your texture coordinates, you know, off center from wherever you're looking. It's going to shift it in a certain direction. Then you'll have to keep track of that. But anyways, that's how you blur things in Blender. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I know I've been talking kind of fast in this one, and check me out on Patreon if you want to. Otherwise, have a great day. I'm John Martinez, and this has been Learn Together Filmmaking.